Well, Bent, we're back. We did a little halftime broadcast. It was 24-0 at the time. This time around, David Bell and Jeff Driskel have caught fire. They have back-to-back deep touchdown passes to cut the lead to 31-14. The Bengals still lead. This game's essentially over. All Browns fans should be watching what happens in Jacksonville as the Jaguars just got the ball back, down 8 points with 3 minutes to go, and they are getting ready to attempt a game-tying drive. This game doesn't matter at the end of the day. It really makes no difference, but it was nice to see David Bell kind of get in on the action, show a little bit of spark, a little bit of life to this offense that, other than those two drives, looked pretty anemic. Earl, Cedric Tillman got knocked out, but David Bell stepped up big. It's pretty impressive. I mean, we don't see a ton of downfield passing in the entirety of the season. They've done a lot more with Joe Flacco, but it was nice to see David Bell kind of step up, and he only has 2 catches, but you can't have 2 bigger catches than he's made today.
No, good for him. Good way to close out the season for him. I mean, it's nice for the stats. For him. So it's nice little garbage time touchdown there. So it was just one of those games. I think everybody was just ready to kind of like get through it and get it over with.
Well, on the flip side of that, Earl, Tillman got banged up at the end with the neck injury. Pierre Strong had to get carted off the field, which he's a great special teams player. Say what you want about him as a running back, but special teams wise, he's been one of their better special teams players. Shelby Harris got injured. He signaled to the fans he'd be ready for the postseason. But even when you try and keep guys healthy, if they're on the field, it's a violent sport. There's nothing you can do to guarantee somebody will not get hurt. So hopefully a speedy recovery to those 3. And if I'm missing anyone else, obviously we're hoping for a speedy recovery from them as well.
Yeah, big facts, man. Injuries happen, right? That's the National Football League. Even in a game like this, if you playing, you're subject to getting hurt. Hopefully all 3 of those dudes is ready to go come to playoff time. But it sucks whenever anybody get hurt. So
yeah. And I know you've been locked into this game, dialed in.
100%. Yeah, no,
it's been tough to watch.
I was making food this morning watching it, and it's just like, okay, cool. Hey, it's a game. We're all excited for the playoffs. Let's be excited for the playoffs. It was a game, guys. No harm, no foul. This one.
I thought Alex Wright played a solid second half. He had a sack, 4 straight games with the sack to end the season. He'll end the season assuming he does not have another sack here in the final 2 minutes with 5 on the year. Half a sack behind Zadarius Smith for the team lead. We saw a couple guys getting on the action as well. Isaiah McGuire had his first career sack. Driskel ended up with the 2 touchdown passes to David Bell. But other than that, it just not a lot going on. And frankly, I wish CBS would change this game to the Jaguars game so we could see the ending of Tennessee-Jacksonville as opposed to the last few minutes here of a 31-14 Bengals win.
Yeah, so I kind of tweeted this out earlier this week. I kind of felt like I thought Houston would beat the Colts, and I thought Tennessee would beat Jacksonville. Jacksonville been on a decline for the last 4 weeks. I looked at this as, Tennessee, this is a divisional game. Tennessee is playing at home. You got Derrick Henry and possibly his last game ever with the Titans.
He balled out.
Ryan Tannehill, for him, this is an audition to see what team he can possibly play for next year. So, and there's nothing sweeter than kind of stopping a division rival from not making the playoffs. And so when you look at everything like that, I just kind of felt like this would be a game that it wasn't going to be easy for Jacksonville. I mean, as far as how this relates to the Cleveland Browns, I've talked to people on the radio, and I've seen a lot of people on social media, kind of signal to the point that with C.J. Stroud, it's a tougher task, and that's true. But on the flip side of that, this is a rookie quarterback making his first ever, playoff appearance start, and I'm pretty sure Jim Schwartz will be ready for that. So we good.
Well, it is officially C.J. Stroud. The Jaguars have turned the ball over on downs, according to the ESPN Gamecast. Trevor Lawrence passed to Evan Ingram on 4th and 2, fell incomplete. So Tennessee takes over. Jacksonville is out of timeouts with 1:47 left. So barring some sort of catastrophe for the Tennessee Titans, a fumbled victory formation snap or something along those lines, the Cleveland Browns will be headed to Houston to take on the Texans. When they played a few weeks ago, it was an absolute bloodbath. I believe it was 37-7 when the Browns called off the Dogs, and then Houston scored 2 garbage time touchdowns. The difference now, C.J. Stroud's playing, Nico Collins is playing. Those two did not suit up in the first matchup, but either way, the Browns will most likely be favored in either matchup, and I think you like your chances against either of those two teams, but now it's Houston, and I still like the chances the Browns have against Houston. I can tell you now, barring some injury situation that happens during the week, I'll be picking the Browns to beat the Texans in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, same here, man. I'm not really, I ain't taking them lightly, but I feel like at this point, I'm more concerned about the Cleveland Browns self-imploding and beating the Cleveland Browns versus any team in the AFC beating the Cleveland Browns. And so as long as we come out here ready to play next week, I'm ready to kind of lock in and handle our business, we'll be okay. You know what I mean? Like the tape is out there from last game, and this is a whole different season now, right? And this is where that 1-0 mantra really, really starts to take precedence. This is something that Kevin Stefanski has preached since he's been a head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And this is the first time that it's held this much weight. So, slate is clean now. On to the Houston Texans, man. And let's just do what we got to do to come away victorious. We'll be all right. Go Browns.
We're going to spend, like I said, Earl, probably a 10-minute post-game show. Not a ton to talk about. We're going to spend all week talking about the Texans and getting ready for that matchup. But the game just went final, 31-14. The Browns end the season with an 11-6 record, the 5th seed in the AFC playoffs. They'll head to Houston next week for the wild card round. Earl, if I had to ask you today, based off what you saw from Jeff Driskel, is he QB2 in the playoffs, or do you go back to PJ Walker?
I really don't know, man. It's really hard to say now, to be totally honest with you. I mean, he didn't look good at all, right? At all. And it's not like PJ Walker has looked any better. I can just tell you this. If Joe Flacco go down, we in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought this was an opportunity for Jeff Driskel to kind of secure himself as QB2 for the entire playoff run, and he didn't take advantage of the opportunity. Clearly, Cincinnati came out here ready to play as they should have been. This is the team that was winless in the AFC North prior to today, and they did not want to finish their season with that being the situation at hand. And so, I don't know. I'm being totally honest. It's really hard to say. I just really hope it's not a conversation to even be had. You know
I'm only asking in the hit button in case of emergency, because we got to talk something about this game. G, I'll ask you the same question. What you saw from Jeff Driskel. Hopefully we don't have to have this conversation, but we do have to have it at least today and tomorrow. Is he QB2 behind Flacco, or does that honor go back to PJ Walker as the Browns prepare for Houston? Or do you bring in someone else, a 6 quarterback?
Look, it's flip a coin time. Flip a coin time. I guess you could say PJ Walker. One of the things that you look with Driskel, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think if he was prepared, if he had a week preparation, he was playing with the ones, and he did his thing. Guess what? I think he might be able to do something. Other than that, I can't really check his temperature right now when he playing with the JVs. Today, the JVs got their money off, and we got did like the JVs. We got beat like on a Wednesday in the middle of the week at 6:00 after school, and we got punished like the JVs got punished. So I really can't take too much away from it.
Nah, this game meant nothing in the big picture. We said all week leading up to it that win or lose, the Browns were in the playoffs. They knew their spot. And I asked Earl a second ago, so I'll ask you this, and then Earl will move on to the next topic. But the Browns did everything they could to stay healthy this week. No Flacco, no Cooper. They had inactives. Even guys who were active didn't play. But still, injuries are inevitable when it comes to football. You saw Pierre Strong get carted off. We saw Shelby Harris limp off the field. We saw Cedric Tillman have to go back and get checked out after a hard hit to the back of his neck and head area. But overall, did you feel like the Browns did a good job positioning themselves for the deepest, most successful playoff run possible with how they handled today's game?
Yeah, listen, anytime you got Myles Garrett and them boys nodding off and look like they about to go to sleep, and Joe Flacco being sleepy in the face, that's exactly what I wanted. I wasn't worried about whatever was going on out there. They could be sleepy all they want to. Listen, those guys out. Somebody called Shelby Harris talking to a fan on the way out, and he looked like hey, listen, I'm be all right. Don't even worry about that. I'm gonna be cool. Cedric Tillman, I hope he's all right. But like I said before, Cedric Tillman, you might want to start finishing these routes, bro. I'm tired. I'm tired of you pulling up on these routes and with these mythical interceptions. So, and I kind of heard what Earl was saying before, with the Texans. Hey man, screw the Texans. Hey man, screw the Texans. Let's get this one thing. Listen, let me get this one thing right clear. I like CJ Stroud. But honestly, I didn't watch C.J. Stroud look terrible against Michigan Wolverines. Don't have me out here like C.J. Stroud is the next coming of Warren Moon and Randall Cunningham. I like you, dog. You a nice piece. You're going to get better, but you need to be walking off that field talking about, well, C.J. had his tough one this weekend, and, that Browns defense just, he came against a buzzsaw. I'm not going to be running away from no rookie. That's like somebody being like, hey, look, G. Bush, you got a podcast to do. Your co-host is this young boy out of OCB. He just came out of Ohio Media School. He gets smoked. What are you talking about? Why would I be scared? No, I'm also supposed to show him what the ropes is. I'm supposed to show him how to move and do his thing. Not be scared. I'm going to get upstaged by a rookie. I like him. I like C.J. Stroud, but this C.J. Stroud respect, listen, he is not the boogeyman. He can get that work too. I saw you lose to Georgia. I saw you lose to Michigan a couple times too, buddy. Stop playing with me. We ready to go.
I think it's context, G. I think when the question was phrased, are you scared of any team? The answer is no, but you obviously want to play certain teams more than others. So, I
just not to cut you off,
yeah,
but I think like when we phrase questions, man, using terms like scared, like that's the wrong terminology.
Did we ever use scared though? It was who would you least want to play?
I mean,
if the opponent is not Jesus, I'm fine.
Well, I'm saying the question is who would you least want to play?
That's the only person I'm scared to.
Pick something like
that. I guess I hear the question, but I mean, for me, honestly, I don't care. Like I really don't care. I've seen so much from the Cleveland Browns that I really believe the Cleveland Browns just don't have to beat themselves, and we'll be okay.
Let's go.
I really believe that. Like I wholeheartedly 100% believe that. So it really don't matter to me if it's Houston, if it's Indy, if it's Jacksonville. So what? Like we've beaten all three teams, right? And I get it. It's hard to beat a team twice, but you know what, man? We can go out there and duplicate it. I've been saying the same thing. We got a defense that travel. This is a championship caliber defense. We can pull up to any city and handle our business, right? You know what I mean? We know what our Achilles heels is. The run game been suspect. We got a team that's been turning the ball over no matter who's the quarterback or who's that running back. So, like, just don't shoot ourselves in the foot at the least opportune time. Just go out there and handle your business. We'll be cool.
I haven't seen anyone say I think the Texans will beat the Browns. In all the conversation leading up to how the games played out today, I don't think I saw anyone pick an AFC South team over the Browns. I just think if you're choosing between certain teams, looking at the matchups and the players on the other side, I do think it's fair to say you match up better with a certain team than the other. So I don't think anyone's scared of the Texans, GR. I just think given the choice, if you had to pick a team to play, like you want to play the worst team. So I think what you're saying is totally valid. But
on the flip side of that, I mean, when you look at these teams, last time I seen it, Amari Cooper set a record against the Houston Texans. He did. It's like I mean the Texans. Like for real.
No one's scared of the Texans. Listen,
like we struggle. If we being honest, we struggled the most with the Colts. Out of all the teams that we faced, the Colts was the team we struggled with. So we'll be all right.
G, what'd you think of David Bell in the second half there? I know it was garbage time and the Texans. I mean, the Bengals had kind of called off the dogs at that point, but still 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, both on kind of play calls that were pretty aggressive.
Well, what's just so crazy, man, is I was looking at my backyard and, I was like, man, it's really like snowing. And it's crazy because I think I'm going to have a person come over and look at my backyard. I'm going to put a deck up. And I'm going to have an indoor type joint. And then I was thinking, because y'all was over here before, I think I need some other stuff, like a backyard and with like an outdoor facility to go to the bathroom because, my house is kind of a, you know what, you say, G. Bush, what the heck is you talking about? Them was all the things I was thinking about when David Bell caught them touchdown passes. I said, what? Nothing. I was over here listening.
I thought you had checked into another podcast.
Right.
I thought G's switched whole
you got to listen to the end. Boy, listen, these dudes, I wasn't looking at none of that. Shout out to David Bell. He showed he had a pulse. He might be on the squad. He about to get on FaceTime, talk to his people. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of JV dudes out there that was today that got exposed because you know how it be, Earl. You be here, they're sitting here talking. They be sitting over there in the dorms, hanging out, playing video games and playing Madden. Like, man, I should be starting. I should be getting all kind of minutes. These dudes ain't that good. Coach Schwartz don't even put me in. All of a sudden, they just break into whose highlight tape from high school was better. No, y'all got exposed today, and we better get all of them starters back. We want everybody back. You had a chance today. You got smoked. It's okay. We love you. You're the JVs. You got another year to grow. But I wasn't worried about that. Shout out to David Bell.
Like they won't admit it, and I'm not accusing nobody of kind of like not being there. But if you just read the body language, if you just read the energy, it really didn't seem like they was up to play this game. Like
this was dozing off on the sideline.
The players that was out there, like it was just one of those, man. If it's like for those who play Madden and you play every game in a franchise, right? And then you get to that last week and you don't already clinched your playoff spot. Like you don't play that last game. You turn the injuries off and then you simulate it and you get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
With them little colorful.
And this how this was. Only difference was we couldn't turn the injuries off. But
right.
Yeah.
Like they was just trying to simulate this game and get it out of there. It sucks though, man, because I was really going to get them 50 memberships tomorrow. So,
but nah, ain't no look.
Wacko for Flacco. It is unfortunate how it ended. By the way, according to FanDuel, the Browns are 1.5 point favorites in Houston next week. So the expectation, even against a good quarterback, is the Browns should win on the road. So any Browns fear out the window. They're now the favorites, which is a good sign. Real quick, and if anyone else has anything else you guys want to chime in on, by all means, I'm going to ask one more question, and I'm out of questions because there's not really a lot to talk about from this game. But, G, we asked the question on Friday. How good would this defense be without the starters if Jim Schwartz was still coaching? And once again, I don't give a rat's ass about the outcome. It is what it is. I don't care. I was a little surprised at how easily the Bengals starters were able to kind of move up and down the field without any resistance. Now, once again, I don't care. I want that on the record. I do not care. I'm just saying I was a little surprised because even the Browns backups, they got a lot of talented guys there. And at the end of the day, it's starters versus backups. The Bengals did what they were supposed to have done. But I was a little surprised that there wasn't a little more resistance.
What's the name? Bull said this before. Act like you done been there. Well, we ain't been there, coach. We ain't been there before. These dudes, I seen the way they was looking. When they ran up on the field, it wasn't. Like, I seen Alex Wright, and I was like, it's a difference between, they try to hype it up like Myles Garrett was telling Alex Wright this was his time to get his money off, like he was some sort of game wrecker or something. I'm like, y'all stop the cap. Like man, we acted like, listen, Cedric Tillman and David Bell was out there like they was just like they was gonna be deep threats, and like this was just them. It was a coming out party. No, it wasn't. It just wasn't. It's a difference between when you out there playing with the big homies against the other block, but when it's you and you playing against the other block, it's kind of tough when ain't nobody out there with you. Yeah. Nah, listen, Jim Schwartz is mad too. He was looking like, man, I done messed up all these stats. I was gonna use these stats to get me a little head coaching interview. I can't do nothing now. We middle of the pack. Y'all done made us drop all the way back to 16th in total defense from this effort. Man, these cats ain't doing talk about nothing. No, I'm not clowning them. Shout out to them, but y'all do realize, like, you start to realize the difference between up top and real
There's
game.
Difference.
Yeah, it's levels. It's way more levels than we thought.
Yeah, Earl.
I mean, I have nothing else to add on to that.
All right, then I'll ask one more question. Earl, I'll start with you, then G, and we honestly can wrap up.
They really got smoked. When Earl said,
this is a week 18 game, man. Like where, like, I ain't got no super deep analysts, man. There was a bunch of backups playing in a meaningless game that we lost. Like,
I'll catch you next week on UCSS.
So the season ends. Myles Garrett has 14 sacks. The next leading sack number on the Browns, Zadarius Smith at 5.5. Then you had Alex Wright with 5. G, I'm coming to you next. We did before the season, we talked about all the different guys on the Browns that could end up with 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 sacks, and how this team as a collective unit we thought could put up 50, 60 sacks. And this defense was phenomenal this year. phenomenal. The best defense in football, and they generated a ton of pressure without actually getting sacks. When you look at that final tally and you see 14 and then 5.5, 5, 4.5, 4, I'm just shocked that the numbers aren't higher because of how effective they were generating pressure. And our thing from last year, when you look at the list, it went 16 to 3.5, which was a bigger drop off. But I'm just shocked that this defense was as effective and as good and dominant, frankly, as it was, with only one guy having more than 5.5 sacks.
I mean, something got to give sometimes, right? Like the sack numbers didn't tally up the way that we might have envisioned, but this team is going to finish this season first or second in the NFL in takeaways, right? Yeah. This season is going to finish in the top 5 in total defense this year. So the sack numbers across the board wasn't ideally as high as people would like them to say, but I mean, it is what it is. This is a total defense that they showed up, they balled all year long. So
I remember a day on the panel, G, you and I were out there arguing against Bull with how Za'Darius was going to have 11 and 12 and Ogbo could threaten 10. And it turned out we were wrong, and even better, we were wrong, and it didn't make a difference. This defense was still damn near dominant, as good as any other team in the league. So were you surprised, just like I was, that some of those numbers weren't higher, knowing once again it didn't actually impact the overall effectiveness of this unit?
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. Let me give you this. When you look at some of the other pieces and parts and why it looks like that, when you lead the league in third down setup, it's the 3 and outs. That's less reps you got to get it to the quarterback. When you in top 1-2 defenses and turnovers, you're gonna have a lot less time to get to the quarterback. Even when Myles Garrett is getting to the quarterback at an all-time rate of 1.2, 1.3 seconds, you're not going to be able to get to the ball. So that means quarterbacks are throwing the ball quicker than they've ever thrown it, which gives you less time to get home. You're getting 3 and out, so there's not sustained drives. They're not putting up points. You're getting turnovers, get the ball back to the defense, or the offense. It's a lot less opportunities to get sacks. Actually, it makes it harder because now teams are well aware of what you do best, and they're going to be like, okay, well, let's just get the ball out quick. Let's figure out what we can do run after catch. And you just don't have the same amount of opportunities as you once did on the defense that was horrible at getting off the field, horrible about taking the ball away, and couldn't stop the run. So you had a lot of sustained drives, a lot of, first and 10, do it again. So when you look at a great defense, and we'll go to Earl, it's like when you got a great defense, you try to stop them in the computer as many times as you can. Like you're like, oh, it's 35 more seconds. I could get another interception, right? And we're gonna make them throw the ball. Like so, sometimes it look like people are off a little bit, but it's hidden in the numbers a little bit. And I think the sack numbers are hidden in some of the other good things that the Browns are doing.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't an issue. The Browns defense generated pressures at the second highest rate of any team in football, only behind Baltimore. They had the number 1 yards against defense in football. They were number 1 and 2 in almost every analytic measure you could possibly look at. So the sack numbers themselves may have been down, but in the big picture, it didn't make a difference at all. And if that's any indictment or any reason as to why Myles Garrett should be Defensive Player of the Year, it shows that those traditional box score stat numbers, G, don't really make a difference. 19 versus 14, but one had way more pressures at the end of the day. You take that, you run to the bank. Any final thoughts before we wrap up, guys? The floor is yours.
Go Browns. I'll see y'all next week.
G? Hey, man, listen, somebody just noticed that my setup was crazy in the background. Sometimes I'll be telling you I'm sneaky, bro. Like, this is a fire setup. You see what the lights look like? It almost look like you somewhere, ain't it? You might, this is a real deal setup. Y'all got to pick it up, so pick up early. But no, I'll just decide, easy money. Y'all get ready, man. UCSS, we're going to be rocking and rolling all week. This is the week you want to tap in, tell your people about us, let everybody know. This is the place you want to be for your Cleveland Browns run up to the Houston Texans. We're going to have all the McNuggets going to have the crazy stats. We're going to have all the crazy facts. We'll run it all the way up to Friday and be on TV. But this is the place you want to be. We're going to have record numbers. Get in early because we're going to be doing it big, and we're going to get ready for this victory against the Texans, first-round wild card in a long time. So support and make sure you're in on time, bro.
Respect. We do have one super chat I missed. James Cosby said, I'll talk more next week, but now the young players won't be smelling themselves. A little bit of reality check. And also, last thing, if you missed it, and I don't know why the NBA scheduled the Cavs to play at the same time as the Browns, but Jared Allen blocked the living dog crap out of Wemby on a two-handed tomahawk dunk. If you missed it, it's the block of the year in the NBA so far. Check it out. And for that, for Earl, for G.
Hold on. Barbershop coming back this week. We back this week, McNuggets.
You are? Okay, good.
Monday and Thursday, we back. We're going to be ready to go 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So make sure some people was asking about that. Now go ahead and wrap that up.
Beautiful. All right. For Earl, for G, it's McNuggets. We'll see you on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show tomorrow. Peace.